Hey guys, this is Christians in the Gritty. Life is hard.
And man, we've lived it.
We sure have. We are just two sisters doing our best to please God through it all.
And having fun doing it.
Woo!
So Christina, I have been cleaning out this my old bedroom that has become just, if we don't know what to do with it, put it in there.
Yeah.
Because it has a big door I can close. I mean, it had the kids' games and stuff, but like during Christmas time, that's where I threw all the Christmas presents. After Shay's graduation, after Easter, I just started tossing stuff in there. And so now, tomorrow morning, I have somebody coming in there to finish up the drywalling, as in like mudding it and all that, and patching things. And it's full of stuff, and I'm trying to get it cleaned out. And it reminds me of how we shouldn't even have that stuff all built up in our houses, and how hard it is to keep up with, and we're doing it to ourselves.
I know, and we talk about this a lot.
I know.
But, I mean, I don't think we've ever talked about it, like, fully in depth, but really, Brandon showed it to me, or when I got here.
He was making fun of me?
No. And he's, like, just looking at it, I think, just thinking what to do. And you said your old bedroom, and I'm thinking my current bedroom is the place where the things go that don't have a place to go.
Yeah.
It is really stressful.
My closet also is the place where all the presents for the future go and all that. And it's like, this isn't right. Why do I have to be a mess?
And then sometimes too, it's like, ooh, the basement. Yeah, if there's a platform, like a spot to put the things or whatever, it's gonna go there.
Yeah. And it takes over and controls us.
Yeah.
You are listening to Christians in the Gritty.
I'm Christina.
And this is Melissa. In the Bible, it talks about having two masters. So in Matthew 6:24, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money, but I think that also goes with your things. Like, it causes you to serve these things in a way.
Yeah. And it takes away from serving God.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And when I walk into a room and I don't have peace because there's too much junk in there, that's a problem.
Yes. Yes. And then we should be helping others. You know, like it says in the Bible, don't store up things for moth and rust to destroy. Like, what good is that?
Right. And honestly, if I haven't looked at those things and how long and haven't needed to use them, do I really need them? No.
No. And then it got destroyed and you could have gave it away to somebody that could use it.
Right.
Or I kept the infant car seats. Now they're expired.
Yeah.
Why did I not give those away? Somebody could have used it.
Right.
Because I was worried I'd need it.
Yeah. When we could have gotten the things.
We have to trust that God will provide.
Yeah.
So get rid of it when you don't need it.
Yeah.
And then God will provide again.
And that's the thing too, like yard sales, great. Somebody can get it for cheap, but it's so much stress to me that I'm just like, no, I'd rather give it to somebody who can use it and not make money off it. And then my stress is relieved right away.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to speak to that about in the Bible here. It says in Luke 12:33-34, sell your possessions and give to the needy. Provide yourself with moneybags that do not grow old, with a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So it does say to sell your possessions, but then what does it say? Give to the needy. So yes, it says you can sell your possessions, but it also says to not keep money stored up. And that's like the opposite of what the world says, is to hoard and store and provide for yourself. When we are taking a big piece of trust away from God when we do that.
Yeah. And this is kind of a side note, but you know how we talked about our husband's Bible study and how they talked about inheritance?
Yeah.
I feel like this could totally go with that topic. The next week they did talk about the financial side. But I don't know what all they talked about, so I can't speak on it. But that would have been cool to have an insight on that.
I know. Maybe we should do a study about it for ourselves and then do a podcast about it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Or we could have one of them on as a guest that was leading the Bible study maybe, and we can talk to them about it.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
But anyway, it makes me think of that because, I mean, so what are we storing up for an inheritance? Do we need to store up something?
Yeah.
For that? Like, that's kind of different.
Yeah.
If you continue on, you know, how you were saying about laying up your treasures and stuff, not letting
where your treasure
your
is.
treasures on earth.
Yeah.
So, like, if you continue on with that, I feel like these are good verses too. Matthew 6:24, starting there. Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? It just goes on. Like, we're so much value to God. He is going to provide for us. Continuing on, but if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith?
Yes.
Man, that's a good chapter.
It is. There's so many, and I'll probably continue to read some of them from there. But yes, between Matthew and Luke, there's so much, because it's the same. You know, they're recalling the same thing where Jesus is talking about this, you know, how important it is. Just trust that God will take care of you. And what did we just talk about in recent podcasts? We have to be the army.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody really needed a car seat.
Yeah.
And I could have been that army to be like, well, I have one. I'm not using it anymore. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
What could have that meant?
Right. And that kind of, like, going to talk about my neighbor again, and how she was giving all her things away for free when she moved because I already used those. Like, I don't need them anymore. I want them to go to someone who needs it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, Brenda, you could have sold some of this stuff. Like, it's nice.
Yeah. And I am trying to sell some of my stuff. But also, I feel like sometimes you can sell some things. Because if I sell them, they're going to be a lot cheaper than if I gave it to Goodwill. Because that's what I'm going to do. My giving away will either be come get it from my driveway, outdoor storage for free, or I'm going to take it to Goodwill. And that stuff gets expensive.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you sell things, you're actually giving it away cheaper, if that makes sense. But you're also providing a job for somebody. So either way.
Yeah.
You know, it still, I do give things away, but sometimes I sell them, but I use the money for our needs also to get the things I need now. So I feel like that's also God providing, and I'm not storing up. Trust me, I don't have any money stored up.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it too, a lot of things we have stored up are things we just wanted and we didn't actually need them.
Right.
And that's probably why they ended up in the place that they're at.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I really want that. The thing of being fulfilled by things we don't need.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you and I have both been in the place of need in our lives.
Yeah.
Or, man, I don't even know. Like, I've been there where it's like, I literally have $5 left in my bank account and I need to get food for me and Liz or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actually, at the time, it was like $5 footlongs, right? And I'm like, okay, this can feed us. I can share this with her, and there should be some left over, like if we need it to be.
Yeah, it gets sketchy sometimes, but God still provides.
Yeah. So, here's Philippians 4:12. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. Gosh, I'm
teary-eyed.
you know what?
It's the remembrance of what you've been through and what God's pulled you through.
And not even in the time, I didn't realize how big a deal it was.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned. It's just the realization, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me reread it in a second. Let me wipe away the tears. Okay. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need.
Okay, so I was just watching you and half listening because you're my sister, and I'm like, aw. So what it's saying is how great it is to be needing God.
Well, yeah. I mean, and this is Paul talking, and he's content, right? In his life. He's been through so much. He knows what it's like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was content in God in those times, and he's content in God when he has what he needs.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, but we've all been to that place of need in some kind of way.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Need, it doesn't mean that maybe you never been poor. That doesn't mean you haven't been in a place of need.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different kind of need when you don't have that security.
Yeah.
But really, look at some of these people. Look what happened when the stock market crashed and all this stuff. Like, is it really security? Is your job and the money you have in the bank account really secure?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. Even when you have a great paying job and all that, that's not security. What security is knowing my God will always provide for me. Like, he made sure you had $5. So you could get $5.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking people are probably like, well, you could have went to the store and got like a whole loaf of bread and all the things, but no, you really couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, not to have enough money of that $5 to buy all the ingredients.
No, because you would have had to buy like the chicken or all the stuff that's in it.
And all the things that go with it.
Yeah.
And now I understand why Dad's family ate tomato and mayo sandwiches.
Oh, you know what? Those are good.
Yeah.
They are. And they
tomato
also,
and mayo is so good together.
Grandma used to take she'd make a big pot of macaroni and cheese because it was cheap, but she might only have 1 or 2 hot dogs. So she couldn't give out the hot dogs.
You just cut them up.
So she cut them up, and then you just hope that you got a piece of hot dog in your bowl.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's how they said, like, you knew you were doing good if you got a piece of hot dog. And then Dad likes the heel of the bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. He likes the heel of the bread. And he said the reason why he really likes the heel of the bread is because he learned that he would always have it. So he learned to like it because he knew you could, like, no one wanted it. So he got it, you know?
Yeah. When those are left at our house, I just turn them inside. The heel goes inside so I don't taste as much of the crust.
Yeah.
And that's where you put your condiments on.
Yes, I've done that before for Will. Will doesn't mind it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I also will use that to feed my cats and my chickens. So it doesn't go to waste if nobody's eating it. Or if sometimes it's just like a shred of it. It's not like a whole piece, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saving me money on feed, right? That's my thought process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't go to waste. We don't throw it in the trash. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, but God always provides for us. And that's just really what that speaks to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like those verses.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of goes to those people that we can be helping with our things that we don't want or need.
Yeah. That are making us miserable.
Yeah.
When you have to continually clean it up.
Yeah.
Or you have to worry about cleaning out a room.
Yeah.
Because you use it as a storage room.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, all the toys the kids have to pick up because they have so many.
Let me tell you, Aliana's bedroom is so much less stressful now, and I didn't put all the stuff in it. I literally have a box of things to take to Goodwill or whatever. And then I have a box of things that I was supposed to put away into her room. And I'm like, she's doing without those. Do I really need to add those?
Yeah. Sometimes, and I did it recently, is I took away a couple totes for like a year, 6 months. And then I gave it back to them, and it was like Christmas.
Yeah.
And then you can rotate them around because they don't need them all at the same time.
And that makes me think too, like when I have birthday parties for especially little ones, right? So Aliana. And when we say no presents necessary, I think we really mean it.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring presents.
Yeah.
Because I had stuff from 2 birthdays ago that I still had not even opened or given to her. I stored it up for like, potty prize or whatever. Because I'm sorry, guys, if you bought her a present that didn't get used, but we didn't need it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. So that's why a lot of times when I buy things, and this is kind of the opposite because I'm storing it up, but I'll buy stuff on clearance for $1 or $2, put it in my tote, and then when it's a birthday party, I will, I kind of try to stay in one tote though. I will fill up a bag with the things that are relevant to the child. And then because they don't always use everything anyways. And so then my present costs like $5-10 instead of more.
Right.
And I don't know. That's just me because we don't have money for things, and I always feel bad not bringing stuff to things. I
do too.
But so it's still like not trusting God to provide for that birthday present, even though.
Or really, I mean, if I invite you to a party, and even if I don't say no presents, please, if you don't bring a present, I don't care. We're inviting you because we want you there. Like, it's a celebration of the person, and we don't need
That's
the gift.
The way it should be.
Yeah.
I seen this story one time. It was like on social media or something, and I'm sure it was made up. I'm almost positive it was made up, but it was a story of this girl going to this party she was invited to, and her sister only brought a small gift, and her mom was like, "That's not acceptable. The one that threw the party, we provided all these things for you, and you're eating our food. Well, you're not getting our food then." And that was the meal they were going to get, so they were starving. And how awful are us as humans to think that way when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Because I give in my time of when I have plenty, I give good presents.
Yeah. And that's like a modern day parable. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just like, oh man, could you imagine the shame those kids went through? And they made the little girl a bracelet that didn't cost very much. And she's like, that's it, the mom. You made her a beaded bracelet? That's awful.
Teach her favorite gift.
Yeah. Don't teach your kids to be that way. And the kid acted embarrassed, the birthday present kid. And so it's just like, let's remember to be like that. Yeah, we don't need the things.
Yeah. So 1 Timothy 6, verses 17 through 19, it says, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, we will lay up our treasure. They will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life." Ugh.
Yes.
So even when we have everything we need and we're rich, it just, that story you were just telling is like, gosh, quit being so uppity.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is it talks in the Bible about how hard it is to get to heaven when you're rich. And it isn't talking about that you're rich, you can't be saved, you can't go to heaven. What
Right.
it's saying is money can become your master.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not serving God. You're more worried about losing your money and giving it away or whatever.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you can use your wealth to do good deeds.
Yes.
Or whatever, but always remembering to put God first in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like in verse 19, in this way they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. Because what are we living? Like, what are we living our life for?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know. That's like when we think about the success that we have in life, I used to really worry about, like, when you look at me from a standpoint, I go to the doctor's office and they say, what's your employment?
Ugh. Yeah.
That's your worth, right? Where we used to find worth. I say family caregiver, but even when I wasn't a family caregiver, I'm unemployed.
Yeah.
But I feel more successful now because of the works that God is calling me to do.
I was just thinking about this today, actually.
That's awesome.
It's like, okay, even Liz said to me, and I don't think she knows how much it struck me because, delivering Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Amazon was light, so I didn't get any routes or whatever. And she's like, well, honestly, you might as well just get a job now because Aliana's going to be going to preschool.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, it would have to be part-time. But the whole time I'm thinking, I do have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My job is to take care of the kids,
Mm-hmm.
to be home so Riley can homeschool, to, do the volunteer things I do that are for God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this stuff is for God.
And that's why not that He rewards us for that. He provides to us because we are walking in His will.
Yeah. So do I really need to get another job?
It depends. What is God telling you?
Yeah, exactly. And we're at this odd point of transition to where that might be changing for me.
Right.
So, I mean, Riley is, if we're honest, pretty self-sufficient in her homeschooling, and she's at an age where she can be home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot that factors into it, but the ultimate thing is, where does God lead me to?
Yeah. Maybe it's
And
life-wise.
I think I'm waiting for an answer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I have an answer.
Right. And I don't think you should move until you know, honestly. Yeah. That's the way we should do everything in life, not just our finances, not just our things.
Yeah.
It's like looking to what God wants from us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about it. The way that my family is living right now is like, I do for you, you do for me. Like, because so many people do for us. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I don't have anything to give you. Oh, this one kid, Austin, comes over and helps Brandon with a lot of things that actually are for me too. But so he helps him do all those things. And then I'm like, here, let him have this blender. I don't need it anymore. Like, it's like a $200 blender. Like, give it to him because now I have a Vitamix. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, Mark doesn't do it as much now, but he used to do so much bartering when we were like a newer couple.
Yeah.
And, when our kids were mostly younger.
Yeah.
It was a lot of bartering.
Mm-hmm. And it's good because now I have these chickens that overly provide for me.
Yeah.
That, mind you, I've never paid for a chicken. I pay for the feed, though. That costs a lot of money. So I do sell a lot of eggs. Well, I try to. But so if you come to my house and do work for us out of the kindness of your heart, you probably leave with some eggs or some zucchini bread or the zucchini out of my garden or something, because seriously, or my husband's knowledge. Mm-hmm. And do we always do that? No, we're not always able to do these things, but the things that we're able to do,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of paying them, but at the same time, it's not. I'm just feel so grateful that I'm giving what I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's making me think of more
verses.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh, I was just looking. In Luke 12:29, and do not seek what you are to eat and what you are to drink, nor be worried, for all the nations of the world seek after these things, and your Father knows that you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, he knows your needs.
Right.
So instead, seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you.
Yeah.
What we've been saying, seeking his will. Instead, seek his kingdom.
Yeah.
He already knows what you need.
He's going to provide
He'll
it.
provide it. And when you're seeking his kingdom and you're seeking his will, that's walking in the will of God. There's so much peace there and so much provision. He knows what you need already.
Yeah. And I want to point out too, it's kind of a if and then statement.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are seeking his will, if you are doing these things, he will provide.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he does provide even when we're not doing the things we should be doing. And I think that's just to show how much he loves us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is important to realize as it like an if and then.
Yeah. Because it says, instead, seek his kingdom and these things will be added to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Just talking about the bartering and stuff just made me think of the corners of the fields.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
The gleaning or what?
Yeah. So like Leviticus 23:22 says, when you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Leave them for the poor and for the foreigner residing among you. I am the Lord your God.
Yeah.
I've always loved that. And
Yeah.
that's what makes me think of sharing with others and serving others, providing for others.
Yeah. And that is so important to remember. The Bible speaks about caring for the needy. It's how important it is. Mm-hmm. And being in fellowship with another, being in a community, loving your neighbor. So how do you love someone? How do you love them and let them starve? Mm-hmm. You don't.
Yeah.
You can't love them and let them starve, I feel like. That's
right.
like not, and that's another thing. I want to put out a farm stand. And somebody's like, well, what if somebody comes and steals your stuff? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, then they must have needed it. I don't want them to have that sin on them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they need something that I have.
It's like, if you're truly needy, you're already forgiven. Like, I say that to my kids at Walmart all the time. Like, if I leave stuff in the cart and we go into the restroom, like, common sense, yes, I'll take my purse with me. But even if there's other valuable things in there, I was always like, if they took it, they needed it more than I do.
Yeah.
I've always
God will
said
continue to provide. And I wish they would ask me because I don't want that sin on them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it still is sinning. When you're needy, you need to trust that God will provide it. Don't go steal it. But at the same time, I'm not going to freak out. If somebody took a loaf of zucchini bread, that's on them. That's their sin. That's not mine.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't need it. Maybe they just don't want to pay and they wanted to get away with it. I mean, that's on them.
And maybe somebody really needed that income and you just took their stuff. But it goes back to trusting God.
Yeah.
Will give us what
that's
we
just
need.
it too, is the eggs, selling the eggs provides for the feed.
Mm-hmm. There is a common sense in giving. Mm-hmm. There's a common sense in like, okay, you could really use this, but.
And mind you, you don't have to have the only reason you give shouldn't be because somebody did something for you either.
Yeah.
Like you just, out of love, they need it.
Yeah.
Give it to them. And I should probably say this because I feel like we've covered pretty much everything, but we should say that in Matthew 6:1 and then also 3 and 4. So I'll just read both of those. I don't want to read 2 because it'd just be lengthy. Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. So you're going to no reward if you're just trying to practice your righteousness before other people in order for it to be seen. So then continuing in 3, but when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. So yeah, sometimes I put on Facebook, hey, I have this free stuff. Or whatever. But we always go back to this. It's your heart.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it to be righteous. I'm doing it to advertise that I have it.
Right. Well, and if you think about too, like, okay, I noticed that my neighbor has a notice on their door that their electricity is going to get shut off if they don't pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you can pay their bill and not say.
Yeah, you don't have to hand them the money to be like the one. You can call and have their address and say, I'm going to pay the electric bill for this address.
Yeah. And you don't have to, like, that's an example of doing in secret.
And they don't need to know it was you.
And it doesn't mean that person can't know either. I mean,
yeah.
But you're not going around going, you know what I did? I paid my neighbor's electric bill.
Yeah.
Like, it was going to get shut off, so I saved them. Like,
Yes. And, speaking on that, sometimes it is good for people to see you doing good, but not for the boasting of yourself, but for people to see the kingdom of God at work.
Yeah.
So I don't think these verses mean that no one can know what you do or you're never being rewarded.
Yeah.
But just, it's always about your heart.
And there's a time and a purpose. And, yeah.
So it's like, if my kids watch me give things to someone in need, or they watch me be praying over someone, you know what I mean? I'm not doing that to be like the Pharisees praying in the streets.
You're teaching your kids.
I'm
teaching there.
I'm teaching them to love people.
Yeah.
And what it looks like to be like Jesus. Because Jesus would have did miracles in the street. We're supposed to emulate him. If we are to do that, I feel like we need to do things in secret. I feel like Jesus did a lot of things that were in secret, I'm sure. Or did things
even
for a
some
reason.
Miracles that he said, you can't tell anyone about this.
Yeah, it's not my time either. It's about what your reasoning is. You're not doing it to be boastful and to be seen.
Yeah.
You are only people catch you doing it.
Yeah.
Or the reason why you're telling people is to help more people. Like if you're doing a school supply giveaway, you can't do that in secret.
Right.
You need to tell people, hey, there's a school supply giveaway over here.
Yeah. Bring your items.
Well, I mean, to get that
word out.
For the people to be able to come. Yeah.
Either way,
yeah. You need to know that, we need the school supply. But you see what I'm saying? So, but it's about why.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing I was sitting here thinking about is like when Jesus did do miracles and said, tell no one. Who was that for? Like, obviously for the person receiving the miracle and the few maybe that witnessed it, but it was for us.
Yeah.
Like, we're reading about it.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it is. Jesus is just really cool. I was just thinking about him after you said, so that's cool. I was like, he is cool.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So when we think about the things that we have and the things that we need, don't be so scared to just give it up. And like I said, I let things go bad. We let things go bad.
Yeah.
And what did that serve? No one. And storing things up, if no one's using them, what good is it for anyone? No, there's no good.
Yeah.
And so we need to remember that God will always provide for us and he will reward us. And part of that is the provision, I think, is to be able to do all these good things. And it's just a Christian thing to do.
Yeah.
To love each other.
Yeah. You're so right.
Do you want to pray us out?
I think you're supposed to pray.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
God, thank you so much for this time that I have with my sister and to just be able to seek you with her, Lord. I just want to really recognize that I appreciate you putting this in our will, in our path, or your will to our path, and just making this something that we can do for you together. And thank you so much for all the people listening, and please help them to know what it is that you want them to just let go of and to just seek you, Lord. And everything that we do, I want it to be for you, and help us to have a kind heart for each other and to be able to be together for the glory of you as Christians and as a community, to just be loving each other and to provide for one another so no one is going without, Lord. Because I do not want to be sitting on things that someone desperately needs and letting it go bad. Help my heart to remember that, and for all of us to know what it is that we need to give up and to who to give it to, Lord. And help us to have the heart for loving others. And all this I ask of you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
You've been listening to Christians in the Gritty.
I'm Christina.
And this is Melissa.